I love Dogma. That might be one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies. I know a lot of people say that one, but I think it's one of his best written ones.
Well, I think this just kicked in.
Also, the late, great Alan Rickman.
The little stoner's got a point.
Oh, right.
He actually is probably the shining star of that whole movie.
You know what made it sound brilliant? Is everything that Alan Rickman said.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Back to the Podcast. We're your hosts, Justin Neal, and I am Chris Lawler. And today we've got an amazing episode. We're going to be diving into our favorite dynamic duos on screen and off. Hey, I made it through it that time. Anyway, we're going to be diving into that today. Of course, we're going to get caught up on what we've been watching, but I want to say big thanks to everyone that's been joining us on our channel, man. Justin, the growth has been real. It's been fun, and we're getting a lot of great engagement. So big thank you to everyone that has been joining us. If you've been enjoying the content thus far and haven't subscribed, a lot of you haven't yet, go ahead, take 2 seconds, hit that button. It really helps us out. Big shout outs to Very Lit and at Switch 7925 for leaving us some beautiful comments this week. We are working hard.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate that you appreciate the quality and value that we're bringing to the shows. Justin, how are you doing, man? How was the week? It's been like 2 since we talked.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. I've watched a couple of movies, which is great.
Yeah.
I'm getting back in the swing of things. I'm going to the theater regularly.
Oh, nice.
Which makes me very happy. And I saw something recently in the theater that was the kind of movie we want to go to the theater and see.
Oh, well, now I'm very eager to hear that because, you know, I was embarrassed to text you. I haven't seen a movie in the theater in almost like 4 years, 5 years, something like that. Guys,
I think he's afraid.
No, it's not that. I used to live in a very small
mountain town
that had the worst movie theater. We got very accustomed to just being patient, waiting 3 months now because everything hits digital so quick, which isn't the greatest, experience, but
it's true. It does take effort. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
It's something that I love to do.
Yeah.
And I even have to find the time and make myself go out and do it. But I'm finding the more I do, the more I remember how much I love doing it, especially when you see something that's really, really good for the big screen. It really reminds me why I love doing it. So I understand your position, and there's going to be something that lights a fire under your ass and you go see it in the theater, and it's going to blow your mind, and you're going to remember, why you love it so much. And I don't know what that movie is going to be. Hopefully it'll be this year. I'm hoping it'll be this year. So
yeah, I know we've got to step out to go see something. Well, like I said, we've just gotten so accustomed to it. Now I have a big 75-inch flat screen and nice surround sound at home.
You can do it at home, right?
Very nice recliner. Like, yeah.
I get it. I really do get it.
It does take effort. And like I said, we just got so accustomed to it. And now we live near bigger movie theaters. So there's really no excuse. It's just, like I said, we've just got the setup now because we invested in that a while ago. So what is this gangbusters movie that was worth seeing in the theater then?
Okay, so and it's actually from one of our listeners.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, you guys didn't talk about this. Hey, you guys didn't talk about this. And so
I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
It instigated me to say, like, oh, you're right. And it's an old friend of mine, Ernie.
Hi, Ernie.
He wanted us to go see Godzilla -1.
And how was that, man?
What was interesting was when I went and saw it, I realized that it was probably at the end of its run, and I was right. And so I got my ticket on the last week. But what I didn't know was that the last week of its run, it was a special presentation across the board.
Oh, yeah.
And it was called Godzilla -1 minus color.
Nice.
And it was in black and white.
That's cool.
And it was f***ing awesome. That movie was so cool.
Okay, well, there you go. That's awesome. Did it give it the old 1950s vibe then?
It did. I think it worked so in its favor.
That's awesome.
In a way that I don't want to see it in color now.
I can't wait to see this one.
I actually didn't know that it was in color because I didn't watch a trailer. You know me at this point. If I've decided I'm going to see something, I don't want to see any more promotion because I want to let it happen. And so when Ernie was like, you got to see Godzilla -1, all right, I don't want to know anything about it until I go, sit my ass in the theater and watch it. And so I thought the whole movie was in black and white. So I was so jazzed by it. When I went home, I looked it up and I was like, oh, this is supposed to be in color?
Wow.
I don't even want to watch it in color.
There you go. Amazing theater experience.
So thanks, Ernie.
Good suggestion, bud.
But it was the kind of movie that we go to see movies for. It was like watching Jaws in the theater.
That's awesome.
It was a monster movie. The characters were so interesting, and you are really with them on this adventure against this sort of, just mindless beast in the way that Jaws is. But it's not really about the shark. It's about the people, and it's kind of fun and funny, but also heavy and tragic. Like, there's just a bunch of stuff going on, and it just balanced it all so well. And the effects were so cool because you could tell.
It seems like they were using a lot of practical mixed with video effects and stuff. So that way, you're getting a lot of practical in the foreground or in the background of a shot. And then you're able to comp it together. I was watching some behind the scenes. I was very excited for this one, but I have not seen it yet.
You will love it.
I haven't seen a good monster flick. I didn't really enjoy the last Kong versus Godzilla. It was fine. It was dumb fun, but every time they cut away to the humans, I immediately was like, why are we even here? Like, what is the point of this?
Was that the one with Tom Hiddleston?
No, that was the Kong Skull Island, which I actually enjoyed that one.
And Brie Larson and Sam Jackson.
And I know that one got a lot of
I thought that one was okay. I saw that one.
And John Goodman.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one. And we sat down and watched that one in the last year. I can't remember when. But me and the wife were like, that one was actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
And that one, I remember getting so much heat for how bad it was.
I remember watching it going,
I didn't hate it.
Really isn't that bad.
I didn't hate it as much.
At all. In fact, I'm finding that a lot, actually. When there's just so much hate about something, it's often misplaced.
Sometimes, if you're like a hardcore fan, maybe you don't like it. But as an outsider who doesn't really know much about that lore and mythos and stuff, sometimes I can just turn off my brain and just enjoy a good movie. And I thought there was a decent enough plot to that. A lot of people had a problem with Sam Jackson's like anger and hate towards it, but he was just a man out of war, needing more. That's at least what I remember. So
I recommend everyone see Godzilla -1.
All right. Well, Saltburn is still on the table as well.
Okay.
Real quick, though, I'm just going to steal the limelight.
Yeah.
I was talking about how there's a new Kick-Ass trilogy being made, and I happened to come across Kick-Ass this week. And I was like, I don't really remember much about the original one. And after watching it, now I remember why I don't remember much of that was. There wasn't much
To the original?
memorable stuff. Yeah.
It was a slick surface action set piece. That's kind of what Matt Vaughn does. Matthew Vaughn, the director, that's kind of mostly what he's known for, right?
Chloe Grace Moretz was the best part. The rest of the movie sort of fell flat. And the wife was sitting there watching it with me. And I was like, this is a long movie of kind of nothing substantial. And Chloe Grace Moretz, her fight sequences are amazing. And I was like, I just want to watch that movie, not whatever this movie is about,
But also, it's funny that you critique it that way, that it's long and not much to it, because that's a lot of the critique that his new movie Argyle is getting right now.
Oh, yeah. I heard that one didn't come out to rave reviews.
Is that it's way too long and not much there.
Okay. Well, he's got a whole trilogy dedicated to Kick-Ass rebooting.
Sold. You sold me on the new trilogy.
We'll see what the trilogy holds. And I guess if you've seen Argyle, let us know if it was any good or not. So have you seen Kick-Ass?
Yeah, the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't your thing either.
No.
Did you ever see the sequel?
No.
Okay. I saw that one time because once I realized that was Jim Carrey. He looked so different that I actually watched that trailer like 3 times and I was like, wait a minute. That's Jim Carrey in there? And then there was the weird controversy after that movie came out that Jim was like, oh, I didn't realize this was going to be a super violent movie. And it was like, I'm sorry. What did you think you were filming when you were taking a baseball bat and slamming it into people's heads?
I remember.
There was like that weird thing that happened with the press afterwards. And then I saw it and it was once again kind of not memorable at all.
It was like what Suicide Squad was.
The first one?
Yeah. That David Ayers did. Even though I like Fury a lot, when I saw Suicide Squad because of Fury.
Fury just got added to streaming. So I can't remember where I saw it. So it did just hit the list this week. So I am excited to at least check that out because you gave it such praise. So we should definitely dive into our topic for the day before we bore everyone with stuff that we've been watching this week. We wanted to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Cosplay Curiosities. They're an amazing e-commerce store created by cosplayers for cosplayers, offering a unique range of apparel to keep your cosplay spirit alive, even when you're not in costume. Whether you're between conventions or just taking a break from cosplay, their collection is perfect for representing your passion. And here's a treat. Visit cosplaycuriosities.com and use the code BTTP at checkout for an extra 20% off on your purchase. Again, that's cosplaycuriosities.com, and the discount code is BTTP for 20% off. And that's what we got. Justin, you want to kick it off, man? Who's your first duo?
You.
Me? I'm going to go big then with this and just go with, Mike Myers and Dana Carvey for Wayne's World 1 and 2.
Fine, then go.
I'm gone.
Go then.
I am.
Go.
I'm gone.
Go then.
I am.
I figured we were going to talk about a couple of on-screen ones first and maybe talk about some behind-the-screen ones. And my biggest one
If it's a severed head, I'm going to be very upset.
is definitely that duo. I mean, I was so impressionable.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure you guys, if you've been listening,
I don't even own a gun,
have heard me talk about how I saw Wayne's World like over 13 times in the theater
let alone many guns that would necessitate an entire rack.
when it came out that summer.
What am I going to do with a gun rack?
I couldn't get enough of it, and even the sequel is definitely one of my favorite movies. So
I'm gonna go pick a fight.
He's gotten a lot better, don't you think?
Way better.
that's where I wanted to start. And of course, they got started on Saturday Night Live, which I'm a huge fan of. So when they were turning that into a movie, it was a very exciting time, the 90s. The obscure humor.
Well, back then things could be obscure because now, like, you can find any reference at the click of a button. But I want to ask you about Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, actually their off-screen working relationship, and if you know much about that.
I mean, it's all in the past now. So, it seems like Mike Myers was a little bit of maybe a control freak at the time, but they still pumped out 2 movies. It sucks that they didn't go on to work on a bunch more stuff together.
Yeah, which is a shame.
But I mean,
That's what happens.
Garth, that was a haiku.
I still got Wayne's World 1 and 2. They've come back and reprised that, sketch a couple of times in a few different ways now.
Sure.
Who knows? Maybe we'll see them come back together again for the 50th next year on SNL.
Mm-hmm.
The 40th was incredible. I don't remember if you watched that. I don't know how big of an SNL fan you are, but
No.
packed with celebrities and cameos and so many different things. Not to mention the stories that have come out of those after parties are legendary. The 50th is this next year. So
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. 50th.
So the SNL 1975 movie might be coming out next year as well.
That's cool.
We could see more about old school duos and turmoil behind the scenes, but yeah.
Okay, so when I think of dynamic duos, especially around that time, like you mentioned, of course, Wayne and Garth. So these are well-worn characters that we know very well inside and out. And to me, a duo that has been around almost as long as I can remember is Jay and Silent Bob.
Right on. Yeah, that was on my list too.
Ever since Clerks. And they have done so many movies together.
They've done everything together.
We kind of know Kev and Jason Mewes a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a dynamic duo that, no one expected and just sort of worked. And then they just kind of kept doing it.
And now they still do like live events together and whatnot. I didn't see the newest Jay and Silent Bob reboot yet, but I did just watch Strike Back just a few weeks ago, and that silly still holds up.
What the is the internet?
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to about movies and share pornography with one another.
I remember seeing Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back in the theater and loved it.
It still works, and his stupid charm.
Yeah, Muse is very charming. That's a good way of putting it. And actually, I just rewatched one that you had brought up not too long ago about how you couldn't find a copy of it to show your wife, and that's Kevin Smith's Dogma. I have the DVD of Dogma, and so I had that on recently. And the things that I love about that movie still really hold up. And honestly, the things that weren't great about that movie at the time still aren't great. But I feel like that those two roles are both still clearly defined. You know what I mean? Like,
I love Dogma. That might be one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies. I know a lot of people say that one, but I think it's one of his best written ones.
Man, I think this just kicked in.
also the late great Alan Rickman.
The little stoner's got a point.
Oh, right.
He actually is probably the shining star of that whole movie.
You know what made it sound brilliant? Is everything that Alan Rickman said. Like, as you brought up that speech, I remember writing that speech, and on the paper, that shit just lay there, kind of hokey and corny. But you give it to a man with an instrument like Alan, right? With the voice that he had, and the gravitas and the seriousness with which he treated his performances, suddenly it's melodic.
Yeah, no, he's great. He steals every scene that he's in, yeah.
Did you see Clerks 3?
No, I don't think I did see Clerks 3.
And it's after he had his heart attack.
I saw 2.
And it's about Randall having a heart attack and surviving it.
That one I have not seen yet.
And then he's like, I'm going to make a movie. And so they bring everybody back.
No.
Anyone who's ever been in a View Askewniverse movie comes back in Clerks 3.
That's awesome. I do want to see that one. I heard better things about that one. Everyone's a little divided over Clerks 2. I did not enjoy Clerks 2.
I think it's funny.
At all. I didn't.
Sure.
It didn't work for me. I don't know why. That original was so different compared to what.
It's true. I love Rosario Dawson in it, and I think she brings a lot of warmth to it that it desperately needs. It's a Kevin Smith movie, so it's inherently going to have some weaknesses, and you go in for its strengths. You want Kev to make a good movie, right? I like Clerks 2. I think it's charming.
Nice.
Does that make you think of anything or remind you of anything?
Not that they didn't form some kind of bond and stuff, and I know there's a lot of controversy around Mel Gibson nowadays, but Lethal Weapon, man, I grew up on the Lethal Weapon whole series and stuff. It even felt like when 4 came out, they'd been at it for so long, and now that's, good God, so many years ago when 4 even came out. And I heard rumors that they're talking about 5 right now too. So if Danny Glover was too old for this in the first one, I don't even understand how old
that joke is going to be old at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I can't believe they started with that way back then. But that was a great on-screen duo and stuff. And even though they added some more people to it, once again, speaking of Chris Rock being added in the 4th one as the son-in-law, but still that duo, that whole friendship and how it started too. I don't know if you've seen the director's cut of Lethal Weapon 1, but it's a way darker edit.
We've talked about this. Richard Donner's cut. Yeah.
Guys, if you haven't seen that one, I highly recommend the director's cut. Me personally, it's longer. It's not as lighthearted. It's way darker, but I think that it helps even better with the sequels because it's like, oh man, they really came out of this crumbling relationship at this bad situation, found each other, and it became this great partnership, even though they never wanted to work with each other. It's the perfect on-screen cop duo for me. I absolutely love all of those movies.
Okay, then I'm going to piggyback off that. And one of my favorite duos is two unlikely people who are drawn together.
I mean,
You are about to have a very bad day.
Who don't want to work together.
Tell me about it.
that's what makes the best ones, right? Yeah.
But they have to.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's to find a bomb.
No, wait, it's a trick. It's a trick.
What do you mean?
And that is Die Hard with a Vengeance.
I forgot about the man.
What, man? F the man. We got 10 seconds
He said
left.
how many were going to St. Ives, right?
Yeah.
And Sam Jackson just has that energy.
I think it's one of Sam Jackson's best roles.
because they both can own the screen and they're both just like,
What?
Well, f you.
You're a racist. You don't like me because I'm white.
I don't like you because you're going to get me killed. How much time?
We had seen him in Jurassic Park, and he was definitely coming up through the early 90s there. But when I saw him on screen with that, I fell in love with him.
Up until then, he was in a couple of scenes and he was good in those scenes.
Hold on to your butt.
But in Die Hard with a Vengeance, he carries half the movie.
You have to shoot me.
This is like the worst day this guy's ever had.
Then you go ahead and you shoot me.
He's got to help this white guy
But I have to answer this phone, all right?
cop.
That he doesn't like.
How's it work? You know how to shoot a gun? Look, all brothers don't know how to shoot guns, you racist motherfucker.
But anyway, but once again, speaking of the third one, by then, we know McClane so well. So by throwing a character like that in his way, it's just more enjoyable for us, even the audience, because we know that this is going to be a long day for both of these guys. And they have the worst day of their lives together too.
If I hadn't saved your I wouldn't be sitting here with you about to blow up with $100 billion in gold.
Yeah, well, I got some bad news. You're only gonna blow up with me.
And then you can tell kind of towards the end that they've made quite a bit of a friendship.
Maybe we should call a fire truck.
Let him cook.
But yeah, dude, awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great duo right there. I mean, we would probably be laughed out of the room if we obviously didn't, do a quick like hot take list of a few of the other ones that we just don't even have time to hit today. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost doing their whole trilogy and stuff, but that's more of like almost like a trio with Edgar Wright thrown in there. But you could see them as an on-screen duo. Obviously, we love.
Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
Can I get any of you a drink?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how you feel about World's End.
And we're back. Just like the Five Musketeers.
I've seen it a few times. We own it and stuff, but I don't enjoy it nearly as much as the first two.
3 Musketeers, isn't it? 4 if you count D'Artagnan.
Well, nobody knows how many there were, really, do they, Pete? I mean, history's a sketchbook.
I want to like it so much more than I actually do.
I think that's the general consensus. I've yet to really find hardcore fans of that one. So if you guys like that one, please sound off the comments. What makes that one so great in the Cornetto trilogy?
You know they're trying.
Shots! S-H-O-T-S. Shots!
What are you doing, Gary? I thought that was obvious. Shots.
I had a good time with it, but it, I don't know. It wasn't as rewatchable as the other two.
I think at that point they were all kind of doing different things.
It was still great seeing everybody on screen and all their new characters and stuff. And then, of course, Back to the Future. You mean Doc Brown and
Marty McFly.
What did I tell you? 88 miles per hour!
I mean, that's obviously one of the big bases of this show, Back to the Podcast. So I don't know how we're not talking about Back to the Future. I grew up on that trilogy. I consumed that trilogy when I was younger. I still think that the first movie is a perfect film, is an absolute perfect film from beginning to end. And it makes zero sense.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine?
Why is this high school kid hanging out with this weird professor dude?
Out of a DeLorean?
The way I see it,
That's stealing plutonium.
they wanted me to build them a bomb. So I took their plutonium and in turn gave them a shiny bomb casing full of used pinball machine parts. Come on!
What the hell is going on in that movie?
What you see as flawed storytelling, I see as brilliant. What if?
Me too. No, I'm still with you. I mean, once again, I just called it a perfect film, but
then you said it made no sense.
But it's also nonsense. And I think that there's beauty in the fact that screw it.
I figured, what the hell?
It's an adventure.
That's what's going on in this one. And it just works.
Yeah.
And it worked for 3 movies. We've never even talked about Back to the Future on this channel.
I'm never going to.
Why not?
I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
You don't like it?
Of course I do.
I was about to say.
No, and I prefer I prefer 2.
I love 2. I just think it was such a wild thing. And the fact that we're past that future now and like nothing looks like that.
Shark still looks fake.
It's so funny to me. The Elijah Wood cameo that everybody's obviously always talking about.
Yeah.
You mean you have to use your hands? That's like a baby's toy.
Elijah's part of a duo, Frodo and Sam.
Just to get there. Oh, the ring is so heavy now, Sam.
And there you go. I've been watching those actually on the side this week.
Yay.
A little bit, yeah.
Which versions?
Just the ones that are streaming, so not the director's cut. Real quick, you got any more duos to just toss out there?
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
Oh, right, yeah.
Been doing great work for a long, long time.
They're on tour right now, yeah.
Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, I'm a big fan.
You know me, I love 30 Rock, which is not an Amy Poehler thing, and I get that, but that's where I...
No, I get it, but they're...
Wet Hot American Summer was like one of my introductions to Amy Poehler, actually.
I would like to announce that Ben and I are planning to produce a musical number from Godspell for the talent show tonight.
I will never forget that. And then when I saw that, I was like, I recognize her from this weird show that I used to watch called Upright Citizens Brigade.
Yeah.
She was part of that back on Comedy Central. There was like 5 or 6 of them that had come from that troupe. Oh my God. Is it just Upright Citizens Brigade is what they call the troupe, and they turn it into a sketch comedy show?
I believe so.
Yeah. And of course, like a lot of those guys made cameos on Parks and Rec with her.
Which I'm a fan of.
I love Parks and Rec.
It's cringy at times, but...
No, you're wrong. People have a hard time with like the first season, but at least it's only 6 episodes.
Well, The Office was the same way. The first season is...
Yeah, a little more cringy.
They're trying to figure it out, and then you come back for the second, and it's like, they figured it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
That happens with TV a lot.
And of course, I think they stuck the landing on the last season of that one. But yeah, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, they're on tour right now. I would love to go see them live together. I can only imagine how fun those shows are.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Then the other duo that have been working together for a long, long time are Trey and Matt.
Yeah, right.
Who have done so many things beyond South Park. You've got Team America, Orgasmo.
Book of Mormon obviously became a humongous smash hit.
Have you seen Book of Mormon?
No, because I went to go look up tickets one time and they were $600 something in the nosebleeds a piece.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what? I love my wife, but I was like, hopefully they'll come out with like a DVD copy of this one day so we could just watch it for $20.
Was that in New York City? Jesus.
No, it was in Denver.
I feel like there's a South Park joke.
You can't beat Denver. Denver sucks.
I'm going to find it.
But it was like their homecoming. They were here like promoting it and stuff like that.
So we saw it in Atlanta.
Oh, shut up.
At the Fox.
Are you serious?
And it was,
damn.
I thought it was fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
I've seen plenty of bits and it looks amazing, obviously.
Well, they've been doing musicals forever.
I know.
A lot of people don't realize that like half of South Park, the show is a musical. And then the movie is a musical.
Yeah, exactly.
You will not feel the need to run, for though you die, Lawler's response lives on.
Well, and actually, when the show first came out, I hated it. And actually, I don't even like the first like 5 or 6 seasons of South Park.
Ooh, 5 or 6? No.
I did not like it at all.
That's too many of the first seasons.
Yeah, right. No, I consider the first 5 are one season.
Wow, really?
You know, they were getting their sea legs.
I think they had already gotten their legs by the end of season 2, my man.
I did. Ugh. Anyway, so.
Oh, okay. Them's fighting words is what he just said.
No, but it was the movie
Yeah.
that I went and saw that convinced me.
Yeah.
Okay, these guys are geniuses.
Yeah, they are.
No!
Success! The child doesn't want to swear.
This isn't fair, you send him begging you!
I think that's when I went and found Cannibal the Musical. Then I found Orgasmo.
Oh, Orgasmo is a genius flick too. I really enjoy that.
Any sign at all?
Stunt.
Hey, how you doing?
They made it for $1 million. It's very cheap.
I showed that to the wife and she was like mad at me for how much she enjoyed that. But she was still coming into the South Park thing the same way. She didn't grow up on it. So I had to like introduce her. Now it's like her favorite show. She totally loves everything that they do.
It becomes my favorite show.
Yeah.
It didn't start my favorite show.
It's been a long time since I've seen the actual movie, but they've done like 4 or 5 like movies, like mini movies now.
Within the show, absolutely. That's when they really got to stretch their legs. The 2-parters and then the trilogies, which are like 90-minute movies.
Imagination Land was my jam.
I love those episodes. I have them all.
Do you know what I am saying?
Yeah.
And so those are ones that I regularly put on because I think the best South Park episodes are some of the best TV that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's some of my favorite anyway. Because it started more of like Stan and Kyle as the duo.
Yeah.
But then, you know, as it expanded, when they started having Cartman and Butters start doing things together.
Butters was such a different character when they first started out.
You know, I got my boys up there hanging.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was more than enough, I think, today. I mean, we've got more dynamic duos to talk about, obviously, but
next time.
What are your favorite on-screen and off-screen duos? You know, writing partners, directing partners. Who did we forget? Because you guys are always quick to let us know who we forget to mention.
No, we're not forgetting. We're just saving them for the next episode.
For another time. Yeah, exactly. But before we wrap up and stuff, just remember, check out cosplaycuriosities.com. We've got our shirt up there now. BTTP gets you 20% off and stuff. So check it out. You know, and if you guys have been enjoying it, that's one small way to support the channel right now is to pick up a really cool t-shirt. I'm hoping to get a couple for us that we can wear on the show here soon. So stay tuned for that. And we've got plenty more stuff coming. You know, check us out weekly. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week. Justin, you got anything for the people?
No, this was wonderful. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.